the Big 12 is not doing a pro day. They're not doing individual pro days. So let me read this to you. No pro days in the Big 12 this year. Rather, the conference will have its own mini combine. That's by Tony Pauling on X. One my first question that came to my mind was, do Texas and Oklahoma, are they going to compete in this pro day, because they're technically moving over to the SEC, but I think that doesn't go in effect till June or July. So do they compete in the Big 12 joint pro day, or how does that work? But my overall thoughts about this is, I think this is really good. I think this is really awesome. And I saw, conflicting things on the internet about, some people think it's going to be a good thing. Some people don't think it's going to be a good thing. The reason I think it's a good thing is because, say for example, my pro day in 2021, Troy Anderson was my class. He went to Montana State. They had a lot of good players. I think they had a few more players that were higher ranked, rated by scouts than us. So they had more scouts at their pro day. Their pro day was on a Tuesday. Our pro day was on a Wednesday. I think they had maybe 10 or 12 scouts at their pro day. I think we had maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 at our pro day. Imagine if we had that pro day jointly as an FCS player, thinking about this as an FCS. Imagine if they had that pro day jointly, what that would do in terms of getting guys more exposure. You have Troy Anderson, the guy who everybody wants to see. If we do that pro day jointly as a Big Sky's conference, that's going to have this. The scouts are going to come to see Troy, so they're going to come to see everybody. That gives everybody more exposure, but also it makes for less travel for scouts and the personnel wanting to come observe these players. It makes less travel. It brings it all to one joint venture, one joint spot that you can see all the players that you want to see, get all your evaluations out, and move on with your day. But I think one problem that a lot of people, one thing that I saw on the internet was people don't like, they said scouts don't like that because scouts like the more individual approach. They like going to campus. They like talking to strength coaches. They like talking to all the personnel that they're going to need to talk to in order to conduct these pro days and evaluate these players. So I think that kind of takes some of it out of it, some of the evaluation. It maybe might change some of the evaluation process, but I think in terms of FCS players who don't always get that exposure and aren't always getting, all those people, all the scouts possible at their pro days, that'll bring a bunch of scouts to one joint location and you can observe all the FCS players. Somebody might pop that you didn't even know about, and there they go. They're getting into a training camp and they have an opportunity to make an NFL roster. I think it's amazing thinking about it from an FCS standpoint, but thinking about it I think it's amazing from thinking about it from a college football standpoint. You bring all these scouts to one spot, observe all these players. It gives everybody an opportunity to eat. The guys who are supposed to do well are going to do well anyway, and then somebody who you might not have known about might pop for you. I think it's really awesome. And you got to think about all the people who don't get an opportunity to go to the combine, don't get an opportunity to do a proper pro day, like some of these D2 guys, some of these lower tier FCS guys who might not even get a pro day or might not even get a combine invite, not by getting an all-star game invite, might not get any of that. When you do all this at one joint location, I think it's just better for everybody involved. I had some questions I wanted to pose about this that were, kind of on my mind. And one of my questions that I had involving this is, one, is this the future of pro days? I think this is going to be the future of pro days. I think this is kind of where, excuse me, gosh, once again, I just ate breakfast, so hang in there with me. But I think this is where the conferences are going to lean towards, because I think it saves money. I think it pools resources together, and also it makes it easier on the scouts. In my opinion, the scouts can have their own opinion about that. It might not make it easier for them. We may never know. I already asked the question about, can this happen in the FCS? I would love to see it happen in the FCS. My question would be, what are the financial burdens of the conference and of each individual school in order to pull this off? Like, do you bus players there? Do you transport players to the pro day, or do you leave it up to the players to get themselves there? What does that look like? What is it going to take in terms of personnel from each school, personnel from each conference? Like, what is that going to look like for, each school? Do each school need to allot their strength coach to be able to be there, be on site? And I'm sure a lot of strength coaches will want to be there for that, but it's like, how does that work out? So I know there's a lot of logistics. Obviously, people are going to want to see how it turns out for the Big 12 this year to give further thoughts, but hopefully the Big 12 knocks it out the park, and this can be a mainstay going forward for a bunch of conferences. I would love to see that. Is it invite? Oh yeah, this is my biggest question about this. Is it invite only, or are all draft eligible players able to attend? So in the Big 12's instance? Like, do they only? I mean, because let's be real. There's not everybody is draft eligible. Not everybody is a. Well, everybody. If you're above 3 years out of high school, you're draft eligible. But not everybody is like. Not everybody has an opportunity or has a shot to make it. Some guys are just going to put out a workout. Some guys are just going to do a workout just because, that's the next steps and that's what's in front of you. But not everybody. So my question is it invite only, or are all players able to attend? Because I think that could create some discourse and could create some discussion within this joint Pro Bowl setup. So I would like to know, is everybody invited, or is it just all draft? Is it invite only? Is it invite only, or all draft eligible players able to attend this? That would be my main question. And if you guys have any answers on that, let me know in the comments. We are going to move on to the next. Or one more question for you guys. Is this a good change or a bad change? In you guys' opinion. I think it's a really good change, and I think it can mean great things for lower tier schools, the lower levels of football, D3, D2, FCS. I think it could do really good things. I think it might be a little more difficult at the D2, D3 NAIA level because they're already, stressed with funds. They don't have a lot of funds to go around. So, trying to put something like this together, one, it would benefit the players, but is it financially feasible for these divisions to do it? I think at the FCS level they can swing it, but I don't know. I don't know if every conference can do it. I don't know. I'd love to see it go on. And then one more question that just came to my mind. Why isn't there an FCS combine? I know we have the NFL draft combine. You have an HBCU combine. There's no FCS combine. And I know it's going to just water it down more now because, you got the HBCU combine. You got the NFL combine. It seems like everybody's trying to do a little combine. But it's like giving these guys an opportunity to get in front of more scouts from an FCS standpoint. I know it's like if they were good enough, they would make the NFL draft combine, which is fair. But I don't know. I just think it's interesting that there's an HBCU combine, which was needed. I love that. But there's no FCS combine. And the only way for guys from the FCS to make it to a combine is either, not either. It's only the NFL draft combine or that's it. I would love to know the answer for that.